Folks, welcome to another edition in Real Estate Experts. As always, I'm your host, Glenn Twiddle, bringing you leading experts from around the world, whether they be authors, consultants, negotiators, really the people that are here to help you traverse the minefield of getting top price for a property, choosing a real estate agent, building wealth through property, anything and everything to do with real estate and helping you, the Australian consumer. So here today, I'm here with Vincent Marruffo, who's an expert in his particular area. He's renowned in his area, author. He's written books, hired, trained gun consultant and negotiating specialist. So, mate, the list of what he's done is a mile long. Mate, thanks so much for hanging out with me.
Thank you very much, Glenn. Thank you very much.
All right, so what really, as I just said, I'm here to pick your brain to help the viewers. In this case, in your particular specialty, it's getting top dollar for some real estate, you know. Now, every single real estate agent in the country, actually, before we get on to that, I've got to ask you, tell me about your wine country. You're from one of the most famous areas in Australia as far as the vino is concerned. Mate, tell me a little bit about the area.
Well, we're very lucky. It's a very scenic area that we live in, and it is gorgeous. You know, we've got the surf, we've got the beautiful produce, we've got the fantastic wines, and we have become a world-renowned region for that.
Well, and recently I saw, I'll tell you, I only just missed the gig because I was down in that area. Yeah, John Farnham and Olivia Newton-John playing down there.
Farnsey, he's always doing reunion tours and the last comeback, so he loves it.
And he brought Olivia.
He did.
Oh man, I was so upset that I missed it by days. You know, so do they do those concerts down there?
Yeah, basically, I suppose the culture of the wineries there is obviously it's a cultural thing. So whether it's art, whether it's bringing along sort of the artists, you know, every year, you know, your Stevie Wonders, your Julio Iglesias, all that sort of stuff. Loon, it's quite popular there. So the area just gets, you know, every year popular more and more and more. Wow. It's a stunning region. So we're very lucky to live there. Yeah,
no, I'm stoked. And so again, the properties there, who is it that lives there? What sort of people invest there? What sort of people live there?
There's a wide sort of mix there. There's, you know, the owner occupiers there. There's people that are going to be retiring there, and also there's a lot of people that have, you know, holiday homes in the area. You don't need an excuse to visit the region. It really is a beautiful area. And so, you know, 2 3/4 hour journey from Perth. It's a nice weekend for a lot of people. So it is going from strength to strength, the region. It really is fantastic.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the tourism down there because, I mean, I could not believe, a lot of people have heard about the Jenolan Caves over in the eastern states, in Sydney, in the hinterland. Mate, I went and visited some of those caves there. Are they I mean, it was an unknown secret to me. Are they as well known there? Oh. They seem to be world quality spelunking, or whatever the wording is, when you go down and look at caves.
Lake Cave, Mammoth Cave, and also the local Noongar people, and also all the traditional stories about them is fantastic. It really is, you know. Real cultural as well.
So my kids were absolutely amazed with some of the legends around those caves, and I was actually quite awestruck because I remember as a kid I had books about the Jenolan Caves and all those formations, and I tell you, the formations in those caves down in your region literally left almost the Jenolan Caves pretty much for dead.
It's pretty amazing the way they've got the tourism around them and the way, so that was beautiful down there.
Yeah, no, fascinating. So now we've got to get to your expertise because that's why we're here to pick such an expert's brain. So what I'm really after is, for every Vincent Marruffo, there'd be 10 real estate agents that kind of say they're just as good. You know, if you ask any real estate agent, why should I list with you? They're all going to say, because I get the highest price and I'm a great negotiator and you should list with me. Well, they can't all be right, but they all say that. How do I distinguish the talkers of the talk with the Vincent Marruffo of my area if I'm in Brisbane, the walker of the talk?
Well, Glenn, that's a really good you know, summary, because basically to a lot of people, you know, all agents look, talk and sound the same, and it's really, you know, when you start going beyond that, they see that, you know, some are quite different. It's quite interesting. Recently, a study was done where basically, you know, there was some secret shops done on over 150 real estate agents, and unfortunately, some of the statistics weren't that great. You know, nearly a third of them, you know, weren't particularly nice at all, and, you know, 2/3 didn't get back to any feedback at all. So what I would suggest is maybe, you know, as a prospective seller, you just go along to maybe someone's open home and just say, you know, they're just looking. Now, when you go to the shops, you know, and when you're saying you're just looking, you know, you're just saying just looking, you're there to do something, but you're not going to do something because you don't want to be pestered by the sales associate. So what's nice about that is, you know, when you do go to a sales agent's open house, and a few of your agents, just see, you know, respectively, is the agent nice?
Yeah. I saw those stats, so I thought, isn't being nice just really, surely that's just bare minimum, that's just par for the course, isn't it? But I saw the same stats. How can they not be nice? Seriously.
Sometimes, they think that people are, not very active to buy there and then, and they don't know that they're prospectively looking for information enabled, that sort of stuff. So they more or less get put off. So really look for someone that, is a nice agent.
Yeah.
And secondly, I suppose the other things, the criteria to look out for is an agent that, is going to maybe follow up you with an SMS after you leave the home open saying, thank you for visiting. And then maybe at the end of the business day, give that person a courtesy call. Just say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you popped through home open. Just wonder if that house has any appeal for yourself. Reason being is, I suppose, us as real estate agents, we're there to make sure that we leave no stone unturned and we get the maximum dollar for that sort of property.
Yeah, okay. And did you mention, I saw the stat, and I think I'm right when I say 2/3 weren't following up whatsoever. No. So literally 1 in 3 real estate agents are even doing the bare basics.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
It's not a very good look for our industry, and unfortunately, it's we sometimes have a bit of a bad name.
Yeah. I mean, from the sounds of it, it's well deserved in many cases. But let me ask you about your marketing, because I know here over at a real estate agent open house, I might be doing this secret shop as you suggest. Tell me about what sort of marketing collateral should I be looking for to distinguish kind of the Vincent Marruffo. What are you doing for marketing? Because again, I'm going to use you as a benchmark of what to do, right? So tell me about your marketing.
I suppose the marketing has to be of a high standard. When I say that, it's got to be professional, it's got to look nice, it's got to have attractive writing, have some information about the area, those sort of things. And it's very important, a local expert like myself, really enhances and talks about those sort of things and really emphasises the marketing, the good school areas, the tourist attractions nearby, all those sort of things. So it's important that, the marketing really is well done to make sure that we attract, I suppose, not the bargain hunters out there, not the people who are thinking of, stealing this property, or they look at the marketing and say, oh, that's not very good, look at that, it's basic, he mustn't be a very good marketer, mustn't be a very good negotiator.
Yeah, so I see what you're saying. Are you saying that poor marketing, and again, this is what I've seen from other experts on the show, that the lower quality marketing almost attracts, like you're saying, a bargain hunter? It's almost like the negotiating starts there. If they see bad marketing, it's going to invite kind of trying to steal it. Wow.
Absolutely, yeah. It attracts that sort of crowd that's looking for that, I'm going to steal this away. You don't want that sort of things. You want some very good marketing that's going to appeal to those emotional buyers. Because what we found is, those emotional buyers, when they do come to the property, that is when all the magic happens. And I think it's very important that we acknowledge that, we have those emotional buyers, those almost heart buyers, and they always pay top dollar. So
yeah. Well, absolutely, I see what you're saying. And well, it leads to negotiation. And is that what you do? You use the marketing to get in those buyers, and then tell me about your sales process. How do you kind of get I've seen some of the results you get, right? You're not just getting some of these times you're getting above the asking price. Like, how much do you want for your property? 420,000. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll get you more than that. Wow, how are you doing? How are you getting more than the asking price?
I think what's important is if you have competition, and it's very important that we encourage competition, that is what gets the prices up. So we do this in quite a respectful way, quite a nice way. Basically, we just let the buyers and prospective buyers know that there is multiple people looking at this property, and also if they are a candidate for this house, to make an offer sooner rather than later. So what we do is we do it in a very nice way, in a very nice manner, and we make sure that we present all offers. And once we get those offers on paper, if we have prospective and multiple buyers along, that's when the magic happens and the price goes up. So we're always ensuring that we do everything possible to get the highest the market will pay.
Yeah, I love it that you're getting the buyers to work against each other to drive the price up, whereas that bargain hunter situation that we talked about before, surely that's one buyer going in low trying to force the seller down.
Absolutely, and also we as agents, sometimes we've got to be the custodians of, I suppose, draw the line in the sand. And if those offers are crappy, we don't even go there. We tell them straight away, I'm not even going to write that, until you get serious. So it is about, having a bit of a tough stance and protecting the property vendor, from those low offers.
Yeah, I love that. I love the way you word it. That truly, because I've heard some agents that are just out there and they're there to get a deal at any price. And I can see that you're truly working in the best interest of your seller. So it's a credit to you, mate. So mate, the next thing I want to talk to you about is, I suppose, the cost of transacting a property. There's some agents out there that seems like they're going to work for free. It's almost like there's nothing. And then there's some that seem like they're going to charge an annual salary for their fees, and everywhere in between. Now, I know that you're not the most expensive in the market, nor are you kind of working for zero, but tell me how our viewers can kind of tread that minefield. How do we know when we're paying too much, too little, bang on, getting value? Give us your discussion on fees.
I suppose it's the old analogy, if you pay peanuts, you'll get monkeys. You want to get someone that's at the top of the game, that knows the market, that knows exactly, I suppose, where it is, and also they're going to get you that extra $10,000, $20,000 or $30,000 that the marketplace is out there. So yeah, some fees do vary. They can be an extra, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 above what other sort of agents charge, and we as agencies, all charge varying degrees of money, depends on everyone's professionalism. I certainly am not the cheapest, but I certainly am the best. So my fee is, quite reasonable for what I do. I provide a fantastic service, and also I don't charge my fee; I earn my fee.
Okay, tell me about that.
Well, basically, I'll go in the bat for every single dollar out there. I'll make sure there's no money left on the table in every sort of situation. So, in effect, I'm more or less getting my commission of the prospective sort of buyers.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about that. Because I've heard of some of the horror stories, right? Tell me about some of the ones where a seller has accepted an agent with a lower fee with that optimism, thinking they're saving a few grand. What have you seen where you've seen clearly that was a mistake?
If those agents are those quick to discount their fees and can sell it for such a little amount, for the amount of work involved, really got to ask yourself, is that quicker way to give away the money for the fees? How quickly they're going to discount your property just to, get a deal done, put food on the table, and unfortunately that's not a very nice situation at all. It doesn't really work that way. Yeah,
it seems like that small discount at the front end is killing them at the back end because they don't get those extra, tell us about some of your success stories, because I know you've got a list a mile long. I've even seen some of your ex-customers. They must be clients of yours for life because they're raving on about the extra money you got. Tell us about some of your favourite stories.
I was very lucky. It was actually quite a lovely story. It was an older couple, and unfortunately they had to move to a nursing home, and they loved the house, absolutely loved the house, but unfortunately it was time for them to move on. Now, they had a few appraisals there, and they were happy to accept this lower sort of a figure. I was able to get them an extra $40,000 more.
Wow.
Now, what that meant for them is basically, the extra $40,000, bear in mind, if they wanted to save that $40,000, at their age, they would have, had to earn $120, live on $40, pay tax on $40 and bank $40,
Yeah.
They were able to get a lovely holiday around Australia with themselves and the grandkids that they always dreamed of.
Yeah.
Now, just those sort of human sort of stories about being able to get them those extra dollars, that really, really is, a very powerful story. That changes people's lives.
Yeah.
Now, bear in mind that the house is the last, I suppose, haven here in Australia that is more or less tax-free.
Yeah.
So every single, $5, $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 that we can get extra for that's tax-free.
Yeah.
And that's a fantastic thing to have for those people.
Yeah, I love that I've seen you firsthand. I've seen you travel the country improving your skills in order to do just that, spending an enormous amount of money and time doing so. But in turn now you've got agents coming asking you for advice on how you do what you do. So, and even people like myself saying, man, how is it that you're doing what seems to be undoable by most other agents? So it's a credit to you, mate. Now let me ask you this. In your book, which by the way I'm going to get cheeky in a moment and ask you for a copy for our viewers, but let me ask you, in your book you spend some time on this process and this practice called buying the listing. Why is that a mistake? What have you seen from that it's so important? You've seen sellers cost themselves a fortune by kind of allowing an agent to, inverted commas, buy the listing. Well, in fact, what is buying the listing?
It's a really, really sad scenario, and unfortunately, there's some agents that will do it regardless of, that's how they operate. They'll promise you a high price.
So that's what it is. It's over-promising on price.
They work on the element of human greed, and they try and give false hope. And unfortunately, that false hope, costs them a lot in the long term. Now, if they're not able to back it up, say for example, the quoted property is $100,000 over what the market suggesting will pay. Basically, if they can't prove to you, how they're going to achieve that price, whether they've achieved it before, or how they're going to do that, it's not a very, very nice way to go. What happens is that actually hurts the seller in the long term, and that's not a very nice scenario to have, because what happens if that property sells up high, and they'll test the market for a couple of weeks and say, oh, well, let's see if someone will pay that. No, it doesn't work that way. What happens is they'll beat them down over 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks till they get them to acceptable price. And unfortunately, that property is 6 or 7 weeks, it becomes stale. We've missed the most critical marketing moments of the first 3 to 4 weeks of a sale when it's fresh. You've got multiple buyers looking at the property, you've got multiple people looking at it.
And it sounds like, if there was a marketing investment made, like a monetary, where they're paying to have this thing on the market, all that money was wasted, I'm assuming.
And it's very critical that people acknowledge the first 2 to sort of 4 weeks of the campaign. That is when, you know, the magic happens. That is when you get all the people looking at it. That is when you get, you know, your very good prices and everything else. Buying the listing, people promising and undelivering, is just a no-no. I've seen it happen so many times, and it really, really is a shame. It's very sad. What happens is that property either doesn't sell at all, or it sells for thousands of dollars below what it could have been sold if it had been handled by a professional agent.
Yeah.
And so that is a very, very dangerous thing to do. So,
hey, tell me this: do you think it's deception, or do you think it's incompetence? I don't know if those words are quite right, but do you think they know it and they promise anyway, or do you think they're artificially and naively optimistic?
there's two scenarios of that. Basically, I think they're working on people's element of, you know, greed, which is not a nice scenario.
So you think it might be on, you think in some cases it's on purpose?
It's on purpose, yeah. And unfortunately, you know, people get blinded by these sort of bigger prices, and it does cost them in the long run. So it's not a very nice situation.
Yeah, as you've said, no, agreed. And so I see why you spend so much time on it in your book. Now, that's where I hit you up. I've got to hit you up. I know you're selling it. I know recommended retail there, $29.95, I think. It's well worth it, but mate, can I be cheeky and ask you for a copy for the viewers?
Yeah.
Thanks, my man. I appreciate. There you go, guys. Get that. There's the URL. Go to the website. My appreciation on behalf of the viewers. So a bunch of my viewers have asked me recently to put to some of my experts about this question. Do we really need a real estate agent anymore? Is the day of the real estate agent over or ending? Do we really need a real estate agent to transact property?
That's a good question, Glenn, because, you know, nowadays everyone thinks that the computer's the be-all and end-all. But bear in mind, real estate is still an emotional exercise, and, you know, it's a human-to-human transaction. So I would say, in, you know, 8 out of 10 cases, you really don't need a real estate agent to sell something for, you know. If you're prepared to take time off work, you know, took 2 or 3 weeks off, you know, to make sure you can answer buyers' calls, all those sort of things, you know. If a buyer rings you on the Tuesday, you've got to make sure that, you know, you're there to take the call and, oh, listen, we can probably get you through there on the Saturday or Sunday. No, these buyers need a lot of management, a lot of follow-ups. So it's very important we acknowledge that you're doing that as well. Now, us as real estate agent, we come across buyers all the time. So we've got a database of ready buyers, whereas I suppose if you're selling the property yourself, you've only got one person inquiring, you don't know where the buyer's going to, you don't know what's happening with them, all those sort of things. So I suppose in answer to your question, really, you know, a real estate agent, a proper one, will justify why they charge commission, how they're going to go about and getting that, and also making sure they achieve the maximum dollar that a market's going to do it. Because at the end of the day, it's still an emotional transaction. People forget that, you know, they think it's just, you know, like going to the supermarket and buying something for $1.99 because it's special. No, it's very different to that as well.
Okay. Cool. Well, I like what you said before, that you're earning your fee, and I love that, because at the end of the day, the consumer doesn't accept the price until they're happy with the price, and that includes the fee. So I love the fact that you're out there and you're effectively getting the buyers to pay for your fees with the extra money you're negotiating. I mean, it's a no-brainer for someone like yourself. I get that the people in your area are lucky they can just choose you. And it is really, this show's about for the people who don't have an obvious choice like your community does. So, cool. So, mate, one of the things you're leading the way with, certainly in your area, but across the country, I'm still amazed by how few agents are using it when so many of the guests on this show are using it effectively. So, obviously, the great agents are using it and the great negotiators are using it. And that's the advent of video in property. Give us your take on what video is doing to the industry in selling property.
It's really interesting, you know. I suppose we're moving the times, you know. 10 or 15 years ago, there wasn't many professional photography done with real estate. You know, it was little snappy haptics, and yeah, it was a Kodak picture put in the window, and that was it. Now, professional photography is the norm. We've been doing that for quite a long time in our company, and we're really proud of that. So, if a picture paints 1,000 words, basically what is happening now is that consumers are getting time poor. So what they're having to do is they can't come down and inspect the house on a Tuesday or Wednesday with the home open. So what we're doing now is we're doing video, and basically video is becoming very effective. What's happened is that these buyers have become, you know, used to shopping for everything else online, you know, whether it's cars, whether it's groceries, everything else, and also getting tours of, you know, the hotels and that sort of stuff. They now want tours of the home as well. So video is a very important tool, and it's fantastic. What's really nice about video is that it really personalises it. People more or less can make the buying decision by looking at the video on the internet. Now, we don't do a video just with some pictures and a bit of background elevated music, you know. Most people get put off by that, you know. We make sure that we do it properly. We have a host, I host it, I say, hi, welcome to 12 Smith Street, and we come and have a tour. So what people are doing is they're really getting a picture and feel for, what the house looked like, having a walk through, along with the rest of the, the video, really making a powerful impact. Now, what's really nice about that is that they'll have a look at that video, and then basically, it's a trend that's occurring in every other industry, Unfortunately, it's a trend we can't avoid. It's really happening. So what happens is that basically they come along on their second inspection to visit the property.
Yeah, because the first inspection was done online. They've already got a good feel for it, yeah?
And what the magic of the second inspection is, as you know in real estate, is that's when all the magic happens. The emotion, the offers, they start measuring the furniture, all that sort of stuff up. So that is really powerful, and that really helps us going through in that aspect.
Yeah, so the days have shifted really, where you'd come for a look, you'd come back for another look, you'd come back for a third look or whatever, because really all those first couple of looks are being done with these videos, and they truly are giving a good indication of what it's going to be like to live in that, not only that home, but I love how in your videos you're putting what it's like, the lifestyle of living in that area in those videos. It's a masterclass in marketing. I love what I'm seeing. Yeah,
no, it really is a fantastic scenario, and basically, a picture captures 1,000 words, 1,000 pictures captured on video. It really engages the emotional aspect of being in that home, and once you capture the hearts of the people, that is when the magic happens, and then when the prices go.
Have you found that you're with the emotion wrapped around that video, that and again with yourself as the host, are you finding the buyers feel like they know you when they come to the home? Like, how are you finding the interaction with buyers? Because they're sitting there watching that video 10 times before they get anywhere near you.
They do, and basically, they more or less know you. They go, "Oh, g'day Vince, how are you?" We saw in the video, and you don't know them, but they already know you.
Yeah.
And that's that real sort of personal touch. So straight away, they're connecting with the house, connecting with you, and basically, they're really sort of getting into it, and it just makes sense. It's a fantastic tool. It leads to quicker sales times. It leads to better dollars, more convenience for sellers, more convenience for buyers, and it really is the way of the future.
There's no argument against it. It still stuns me that less than 5% of properties on the internet have a quality video like you're talking about. So anyway, all the more luck for your sellers, because your homes that you're selling are being sold in competition with these properties that aren't being marketed half as well. So, mate, it's credit to you, mate. And my thanks for you being on the show today.
Very much, Glenn.
And thanks again for the offer of giving the crew a copy of the book. Well done and congratulations, and my thanks again.
Thank you very much.
Folks, there is another edition in the can of Real Estate Experts. My thanks to Vince for spending some time with us. And until next time on Real Estate Experts, I'm Glenn Twiddle. Bye.
We recently sold our home through Vince Marruffo, and it was a great experience. He made it really easy. He always kept us up to date with what was happening, the people who we were getting through, and we had lots of good feedback. I'd highly recommend his services if you're thinking of buying or selling in our beautiful area of the southwest. He was perfect.
I've used Vincent Marruffo at Acton at Southwest to sell 2 of my properties now. It was very informative, and he was very thorough through the property and helping us out since we live in Perth and he lives in the Southwest. I would recommend Vincent Marruffo at any other property that I would build or choose to buy. And further from that, we've given him recommendations who my parents have built or purchased through Vincent Marruffo as well. So it was very good and informative of what he was doing, and highly recommended his services.
I highly recommend using Vince Marruffo for buying and selling more houses. We used him for a couple of houses of ours. Communication's always been top notch, 100%, 10% on our side and batting for us all the time, and always wanting to negotiate the best deal for us, so definitely highly recommend him.
Vincent was available to us when we had our house for sale, but more important, he always told us the truth, which because of my husband's ill health took so much worry off our shoulders. He is still a very great friend.
We used Vincent Marruffo to sell our house recently. It was a great experience. He was a very good communicator as well as very thorough with everything that we went through. It is a hard time to go through, and he was very supportive through that as well. We would thoroughly recommend him for selling your house at any time, anywhere. He's very good at what he does and well recommended.